You get paid 25,000 rands per month, they give it to you as 25,000 rands per month. Because that is the contract that you have signed. The day they say, thank you very much, you can go on retirement, or we don't need your services anymore. You just walk with your pen and your notebook that you came with. You give them their computer, you give them their phone, and you walk away. There is nothing that you're taking. But if then you have not made a provision for yourself for a retirement annuity, you're going to have a lifetime problem. They say only 6% of people with retirement investments would retire comfortably. Now just imagine, if 6% of those that have retirement annuity or retirement investments, only 6% will retire comfortably. What about those that do not have it at all? And sometimes when we talk about retirement, when you are still young, you don't think about it. Because you're thinking that retirement is still too far. I'm still in my 30s, I'm still in my early 40s. But the challenge is, if you don't start early in retirement, you are going to be falling in the category of the 94% that do not retire comfortably. And retirement is one investment that we need to look at. People these days live longer. In fact, the retirement industry, when they do what they call life annuity or living annuity, they suggest that you work on a post-retirement period of approximately 30 years. Now saying if you're going to retire at 60, you must have money to last you until you are 90. Between 25, if you're going to retire at 65, yours is going to be 25. Because they said approximately the life expectancy of people that have been working is about 30 years after retirement. And they say to retire comfortably, you need to have at least 200 times your final annual salary. If your annual salary was 300,000, you will need at least 4.5 million in your retirement package, at least. And that is not even to cover your entire life because it only covers 15 years. That is why they say at least 4.5 million. Or you will need 6 million in your retirement pot for 20 years. That is the type of investment that you need to look at if you're looking for retirement. And unfortunately, retirement, brethren, it is something that we cannot ignore. No one of us sitting here is hoping to die immediately after retirement, but you're hoping to still live for a considerable period of time after retirement. Now, that is one area where I want to urge you to say, please look into it. Check what retirement package you have. Check your contribution. Check your employer's contribution. Estimate. These days, employers give certificates every year. Check on that certificate. How much do you have? And check the number of years you still left working. And ask yourselves, how much do you think you would have accumulated at a 6% inflation increase at least when you go on retirement? And if it is not going to be sufficient, please consider to have an additional retirement annuity. The good thing about it is that if you do an additional required retirement annuity, when you do your SARS or your tax filing, it helps you with your returns to minimize your tax if you have not reached or breached the 350,000 rands total allowable tax saving per annum. The government allows you to say per annum you can save up to 350,000. Now, if your retirement savings, whether it's employer sponsored or you do it privately, has not reached 350,000, you can and you have the ability to upgrade it so that you can get even more tax breaks. But when you do investing, whether it's retirement or it's direct investing, there are certain things that you need to consider, especially how long you're going to live after retirement and what investment returns you are going to get. And amongst them is the lifestyle choices that we choose and we live, as well as the inflation and market dynamics. However, choosing an investment or choosing to invest, the key strategy and ingredient is to start. When we talk about investments, people tend to say, but it is late. Believe you me, brethren, when it comes to investing, it is never too late. Any time is tea time. However, starting early has got big advantages. But if you have not started early, it does not stop you from starting at any time. But also, when you're doing investing, you need to try have what I call balanced asset allocation in your investment portfolio, so that you avoid to put your eggs all in one basket. You need to have an element of short-term investing, alternatively where you can say you've put a certain amount of money in cash. You need to look into whether you want to put your money in unit trust or in ETFs. You need to look into putting your money into direct shares if you can. You can look into putting your money into bonds if you can. But there's a new category. It has been here for quite some time, although to many of us is new. It's called tax-free savings account. We'll talk a little bit about it as well. Now, perhaps let's look into a balanced portfolio. A balanced portfolio is a portfolio that one will have a retirement. And I'm looking into the totality now. If you've got a pen, you can write this down. That you need to put money in retirement, either in the form of a retirement annuity or a retirement fund, if you're working for an employer that has a retirement fund. But also, if you've got an employer that has a retirement fund, please check what is the deduction that your employer is deducting from your salary, and whether that is going to be sufficient for you. And if you think it's not going to be sufficient, please try to have an additional retirement annuity over and above the employer-sponsored pension fund or provident fund. Now, that is one I think all of us we should have, either through employer or privately. Let's have a retirement saving. And a retirement saving, you can get it through many platforms. If you have an insurance policy, all insurance companies in the country that have long-term or offer long-term insurance, they also offer retirement. The banks have platforms for retirement. Now, one thing that we also have seen with retirement and in discussions with a number of consultants in my spaces, people that run businesses, sometimes they make a mistake of not making a provision for retirement. If you're running a business, I want to urge you, there is a time in your life where you want to retire and rest. You're not going to be able to run that business. But if you have made provision for retirement savings, when you are not able to run the business, then your retirement will be able to look after you. It's very important. That is one thing that I always say every working person should try to have. In fact, not try, is a must to have a retirement. If your employer does not deduct from your salary a retirement fund or retirement saving, please make a private one for yourselves.